Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome to another Temple 420 Bible study, number 23. Today we're going to go back into the times of the Exodus and back to the story with the Pharaoh and Moses and speak on the Passover and read through the Passover, which was a foretelling of needing the blood of the lamb for Jesus Christ. Blood of the lamb, like in our representation here, on the sides and the top of your door. I AI generated this and didn't swap in to get on top of the door. So just imagine it would also be on top of the door as well. I didn't want to listen to that one. Surprised, didn't think that was too gory, but that was lamb's blood that also represented in these people being covered, as we'll see in here. But first of all, let me start off here with a prayer for everybody who's watching. Dear Almighty Yahweh, Almighty God of the universe, the God who created us all, the God who formed everything amongst us and given us this word. Thank you for the blessings you give us and bringing this Bible study so that we can study things together, help those people that watch it be enriched with the word and want to seek you out and gain wisdom for you and learn how to have obedience towards you and your ways. Makes me move everything now. It's upgrade. Exodus 12:1. The master Yahuwah spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt and said, for you this month will be the start of months, for the month of the year to you. Tell the assembly of Israel, on the 10th day of this month, they must take a lamb or a young goat for themselves, each family doing this for each household. This is also being the first month and the start of the month. It was the first month of the year, so this would be actually the time for their new year. They took spring as the beginning of the new year. Now we use kind of mid-winter, just into winter. Tell the assembly of Israel on the 10th day of this month they must take a lamb or young goat for themselves, each family doing this, and each lamb to a household. If the household is too small for a lamb, the man and his next door neighbor are to take a lamb or young goat meat. That'll be enough for the number of the people, and it should be enough for everyone to eat. So they must take enough meat to feed them all. Your lamb or young goat must be without blemish, 1 year old male. You may take the one of the sheep or goats. You must keep it till the 14th day of that month. Then the whole assembly of Israel must kill these animals at twilight. You must take some of the blood and put it on the two side doorposts and the top of the door frames of the houses in which you will eat the meat. You must eat the meat at night, after first roasting it over a fire. Eat it with bread made without yeast, along with bitter herbs. Do not eat it raw or boiled in water. Instead, roast it over a fire with its head, legs, and inner parts. You must not let any of it be left over until morning. You must burn whatever is left in the morning. This is how you must eat it, with your belt fastened and your shoes on your feet and your staff in your hand. You must eat it hurriedly. It is the Master Yahuwah's Passover. The Master Yahuwah says this: I will go through the land of Egypt at night and attack the firstborn of the man and the animal in the land of Egypt. I will bring punishment on all the Elohim, or gods is what the other name of that is, of Egypt. I am the master Yahuwah. The blood will be a sign on your houses for the coming to you. When I see the blood, I will pass over to you, and I will attack the land of Egypt. This plague will not come on to you and will destroy you. This day will become a memorial for you, which you must observe with a festival for the Master Yahuwah. It'll always be Torah for you through your people's generations that you must observe this day. You will eat bread without yeast for 7 days. On the first day, you will remove the yeast from your houses. Whoever eats leavened bread from the first day to the 7th day, that person must be cut off from Israel. The first day, there'll be an assembly that is set apart to me. And on the 7th day, there'll be such a gathering. No work will be done on these days except for the cooking for everyone to eat. That must be the only work that may be done by you. You must observe this festival of unleavened bread because it is the day that I brought to your people. Armed group by armed group out of the land of Egypt. So you must observe this day throughout your generations. This will always be a Torah for you. You must eat unleavened bread from twilight on the 14th day and the first month of the year until twilight of the 21st day of the month. During these 7 days, no yeast must be found in your houses. Whoever eats of the bread made with yeast must be cut off from the community of Israel, whether the person is a foreigner or someone born in your land. You must eat nothing made with yeast. Wherever you shall live, you must eat bread made without yeast. Then Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, go and select lambs or kids that'll be enough to feed your families and kill the Passover lamb. Then take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood. That'll be a basin. Apply the blood in the basin to the top of the door frames and the doorposts. None of you is to go out of the door of his house until the morning. For the Master Yahuwah will pass through to attack the Egyptians. And when he sees the blood on top of the door frame and on the doorpost, he'll pass over your door and not permit the destroyer to come into your house and attack you. You must observe this event. This will always be Torah for you and your descendants. When you enter the land of the Master Yahuwah will give you, just as he promised to do, you must observe this act of worship. When your children ask, what does this act of worship mean? You must say, it is the sacrifice of the Master Yahuwah's Passover, because the Master Yahuwah passed over the Israelites' house when in Egypt. When he attacked the Egyptians, he set our houses free. Then the people bowed and worshipped the Master Yahuwah. The Israelites went and did exactly as the Master Yahuwah had commanded Moses and Aaron. It happened at midnight that the Master Yahuwah attacked the firstborn of the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of the Pharaoh who sat on his throne to the firstborn of the person in prison, and all the firstborn of the cattle. Pharaoh got up in the night, all of his servants and all the Egyptians. There was a loud lamenting in Egypt, for there was not a house where somebody was dead. Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron in the night and said, get up from among my people, you and the Israelites, go and worship the Master Yahuwah. You have said you wanted to do. Take the flocks of your herds, and you have said, go and also bless me. The Exodus. The Egyptians were great hurry to send them out of the land, for they said, we are all dead people. So the people took their dough without adding any yeast. Their kneading bowls were already tied up in their clothes and their shoulders. And the people of Israel did as Moses told them. They asked the Egyptians for articles of silver, articles of gold, and clothing. The master Yahuwah made the Egyptians eager to please the Israelites, so the Egyptians gave them whatever they asked for. In this way, the Israelites plundered the Egyptians. The Israelites journeyed from Ramses to Succoth. They numbered about 600,000 men on foot, in addition to the women and children. A mixed crowd of non-Israelites went to them together with flocks and herds and a very large number of cattle. They baked bread without yeast, and that the dough they brought from Egypt. It was without yeast because they had been driven out of Egypt and could not delay to prepare the food. The Israelites had lived in Egypt and Canaan for 430 years. At the end of the 430 years, on that day, all the Master Yahuwah's armed groups went out from the land of Egypt. This was a night to stay awake. The Master Yahuwah to bring them out of the land of Egypt. This was the Master Yahuwah's night to be observed by the Israelites through their people and generations. The institution of Passover. The Master Yahuwah said to Moses and Aaron, "Here's the rule for the Passover. No foreigner shall share in eating it. However, every Israelite slave bought with the money may eat it after you have circumcised him. Foreigners and hired servants must not eat any of the food, and the food must be eaten in one house. You must not carry any of the meat out of the house, and you must not break any bone of it. All the community of Israel must observe the festival. If a foreigner lives with you and wants to observe the Passover to the Master Yahuwah, all of his male relatives must be circumcised. Then he may come to observe it. He will become like the people who were born in the land. However, no uncircumcised person will eat of any of the food." So all the Israelites did exactly as the Master Yahuwah commanded of Moses and Aaron. It came that very day that the Master Yahuwah brought Israel out of the land of Egypt by their armed groups. That is also the reason we continue to observe the Passover, since it says it continues in the generations. It's got me now because the Passover is kind of developed into a weird, some say pagan ritual. I don't think it makes any difference or good, but it's not the rituals that it says in the Bible or what Yahweh, the Master Yahuwah, commands. So I'm not exactly sure why people want to celebrate Easter, those holidays. Some people won't even repeat them because they know the things that go with that. But I don't think those entities or anything that have to do with that have any power. So when it's in the nature of God and we're trying to tell truth and reveal it, it makes them void as they continue to be because they have no power better than Yahweh, the Master Yahuwah. Consecration of the firstborn. The Master Yahuwah spoke to Moses and said, "Set apart to me all the firstborn, every firstborn male among the Israelites, both of people and animals. The firstborn belongs to me." And then he goes on to tell them about how to have the feast of unleavened bread. Moses said to the people, "Call this day to mind, and the day which you came out of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. For the Master Yahuwah is strong, and he brought you out of this place. No bread with yeast must be eaten. You are going out of Egypt this day in the month of Ahib. When the Master Yahuwah brings you into the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, and the land that he swore to your ancestors give you, a land flowing of milk and honey. And then you must observe the act of worship in this month. For 7 days you must eat bread without yeast. For the seventh day there will be a feast to honor the Master Yahuwah. Bread without yeast must be eaten throughout 7 days. No bread with yeast shall be seen among you. The yeast may be seen with you with any of your borders. On that day you're to say to your children, 'This is because of what the Master Yahuwah did for me when I came out of Egypt. This will be the reminder for you on your hand and a reminder for you on your forehead. This is so the Torah of the Master Yahuwah may be in your mouth, for you will be the strong hand of the Master Yahuwah that brought you out of Egypt. Therefore, you must keep this Torah in its appointed time from year to year. Then the Master Yahuwah brings you into the land of the Canaanites, as he swore to you and your ancestors do. When he gives the land to you, you must set apart for him every firstborn and every first offspring of your animals. The males will be the Master Yahuwah's. For every firstborn of a donkey, you must buy with a lamb. If you do not buy it back, then you must break its neck. But for your firstborn males among your sons, you must buy them back. When your son asks you, what does this mean? You're to tell him, it was by a strong hand that the Master Yahuwah brought us out of Egypt, from the house of slavery. Then Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go. The Master Yahuwah killed all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of my people and the firstborn of animals. That is why I sacrifice to the Master Yahuwah the firstborn male of every animal, and that's why I buy back the firstborn of my sons. This will become a reminder on your hands and a reminder on your forehead, for it was strong in the hand that the Master Yahuwah brought us out of Egypt. The pillars of cloud and fire. Then the Pharaoh let the people go. Elohim did not lead them by the way of the land of the Philistines, although the land was nearby. For Elohim said, perhaps the people will change their mind when they experience war and will return to Egypt. So Elohim led the people around the wilderness to the Sea of Reeds. So the Israelites went out of the land of Egypt, armed for battle. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for Joseph had made the Israelites solemnly swear, and said, Elohim will surely rescue you, and you must carry away my bones with you. The Israelites journeyed from Sukkoth and camped at Edom and the edge of the wilderness. The Master Yahuwah went before them by day in a pillar of cloud and led them on their way. By night he went as a pillar of fire to give them light. This is the way that they could travel by day and by night. Master Yahuwah did not take away from before the people the pillar of the cloud or the nighttime pillar of fire. Now, Exodus 14, crossing the Red Sea. The Master Yahuwah spoke to Moses and said, say to the Israelites, they should turn and camp before Pi-Hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, before Baal Zephon. You're to camp by the sea, opposite Pi-Hahiroth. Pharaoh will say about the Israelites, they are wandering in the land, and the wilderness has closed in on them. I will harden the Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them. I will get great honor because of the Pharaoh and all of his army. The Egyptians will know that I'm the Master Yahuwah. So the Israelites camped as they were instructed. And the king of Egypt was told that the Israelites had fled, and the minds of the Pharaoh and his servants turned against the people. They were like, what have we done, letting Israel go free from working with us? Then the Pharaoh got his chariots ready and took his army with him. He took 600 chosen chariots, and all of the chariots of Egypt, with officers on all of them. The Master Yahuwah hardened the heart of the Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and the king pursued the Israelites. Now the Israelites had gone away in triumph, but the Egyptians pursued them, together with all of his horses and chariots, all of his horsemen, and his army. They overtook the Israelites camping by the sea beside Pi-Hahiroth before Baal Zephron. When the Pharaoh came close, the Israelites looked up and were surprised. The Egyptians were marching after them, and they were terrified. And the Israelites cried out to the master Yeshua. They said to Moses, "Is it because there were no graves in Egypt that you have taken us away to die in the wilderness? What have you treated us like this, bringing us out of Egypt? This is not what we told you in Egypt. We said to you, 'Leave us alone so we can work for the Egyptians.' It would have been better for us to work for them than die in the wilderness." Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand still and see the rescue that the Master Yahuwah will provide for you today. You'll never see the Egyptians whom you see today. The Master Yahuwah will fight for you, and you will only have to stand still." Then the Master Yahuwah said to Moses, "Why are you, Moses, continuing to call out to me? Tell the Israelites to go forward. Lift up your staff and reach out your hand over the sea and divide it, so that the people of Israel may go through the sea on dry land. Be aware that I will harden the Egyptians' hearts, so they will go after them. I will get the honor because the Pharaoh and all of his army and his chariots and all of his horsemen. Then the Egyptians will know that I am the Master Yahuwah, and I have not gotten honor because of the Pharaoh and his chariots and his horsemen." The angel of Elohim, who went before the Israelites, moved and went behind them. The pillar of the cloud moved from before them and went to stand behind them. The cloud came before the camp of Egypt and the camp of Israel. It was a dark cloud to the Egyptians, but it lit the night for the Israels, so one did not come near the other at all night. Moses reached out his hand over the sea, and the Master Yahuwah drove the sea back with a strong east wind all night that made the sea dry in the land. In this way, the waters were divided, and Israel went into the middle of the sea on dry ground. The waters formed a wall for them on the right and their left, and the Egyptians pursued them. They went right after them into the middle of the sea, all the Pharaoh's horses and chariots and men. But the early morning hours, the Master Yahuwah looked down on the Egyptian army through the pillar of fire and cloud. He caused panic to all the Egyptians. Their chariots were clogged and their horsemen drove with difficulty. So the Egyptians said, "Let us flee from Israel, for the Master Yahuwah is fighting for them against us." The Master Yahuwah said to Moses, "Reach out your hand over the sea, so that the waters may come back to the Egyptians and their chariots and their horsemen." So Moses reached out of the land and over the sea, and it returned to its normal course when the morning appeared. The Egyptians fled into the sea, and the Master Yahuwah drove the Egyptians into the middle of it. The waters came back and covered the Pharaoh's chariots, horsemen, and his entire army that had followed the chariots into the sea. No one survived. However, the Israelites walked on dry land in the middle of the sea. The waters were a wall for them on the right and their left. So the Master Yahuwah saved Israel that day in the hand of the Egyptians. And Israel saw the dead Egyptians on the seashore. When Israel saw the great power that the Master Yahuwah used against the Egyptians, the people honored the Master Yahuwah, and they trusted in the Master Yahuwah and his servant Moses. The Song of Moses. Then Moses and the people of Israel sang this song to the Master Yahuwah. They sung, "I will sing to the Master Yahuwah, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider has been thrown into the sea. The Master Yahuwah is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. This is my Elohim, and I will praise him in my Father's Elohim. I will exalt him. The Master Yahuwah is a warrior. The Master Yahuwah is his name. He has thrown the Pharaoh's chariots and the army into the sea. Pharaoh's chosen officers were drowned in the sea of reeds. The depths covered them and went down into the depths like a stone. On your right hand, O Master Yahuwah, is glorious in power. Your right hand, O Master Yahuwah, has shattered the enemy. In the great majesty, you overthrow those who rose up against you. You sent out with your wrath, it consumed them like stubble. By the blast of your nostrils, the waters were piled up. The flowing waters stood upright in a heap. The deep water was congealed in that heart of the sea. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, and I will share the plunder. My desire will be satisfied on them. I will draw my sword, and my hand will destroy them. But you blew with your wind, and the sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who is it like you, O Master Yahuwah, among the Elohim? Who is it like you, majestic in holiness, honored in praises, doing miracles? You reached out with your right hand, and the earth swallowed them. In your covenant loyalty, you've led the people you have rescued. In your strength, you have led them to be set apart, holy, place, and where you live. Sorry there. I obviously wasn't doing good singing the song. I would have fell out there. The people will hear and they will tremble. Terror will seize the inhabitants of Philistia, and the chiefs of Edom will fear, and the soldiers of Moab will shake. All the inhabitants of Canaan will melt away. Terror and dread will fall on them. Because of your arm's power, they will become as still as a stone in your people's paths. O Master Yahuwah, until your people have rescued passed by, you will bring them and plant them on the mountain of your inheritance, in the place, O Master Yahuwah, that you have made to live in, the sanctuary, or master, that is of your hands you have built. The Master Yahuwah will reign forever and ever. For the Pharaoh's horses went with his chariots and horsemen to the sea. The Master Yahuwah brought back the waters to the sea on them, but the Israelites walked dry in the land in the middle of the sea. Miriam the prophetess, sister of Aaron, picked up the tambourine, and all the women went out with tambourines, dancing along with her. Miriam sung to them, Sing to the Master Yahuwah, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider has been thrown into the sea. Bitter water made sweet. Then Moses led Israel onward from the Sea of Reeds. They went out into the wilderness of Shur. They traveled 3 days into the wilderness and found no water. Then they came to Marah, but they could not drink the water there because it was bitter. So they called that place Marah. So the people complained to Moses and said, What can we drink? Moses cried out to the Master Yahuwah, and the Master Yahuwah showed him a tree. Moses threw it into the water, and the water became sweet to drink. And it was there the Master Yahuwah gave them a strict Torah, and it was there that he tested them. He said, If you carefully listen to the Master Yahuwah, your Elohim, and do what is right in his eyes, if you give the ear to his commands and obey all his Torah, which is the law and instructions, I will put on none of you the diseases that I put on the Egyptians, for I am the Master Yahuwah who heals you. Then the people came to Elm, where there are 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees. They camped by the water. Well, this is a really important one here, too. that I think this is one that's vital to know, that God said if we follow his laws and instructions, then he won't put any of these diseases that he put on the Egyptians. If you look into a lot of the diseases, they are effects on your body, and they're due to doing things, unfortunately, gluttony and sexual diseases and all of these things that would go against the specific laws that are put in the instructions that Moses gives him here. And we're at 30 minutes today here. I've got some other things to do, but I think this went pretty well here. I hope anybody who came enjoyed it and learned some things. And I appreciate the support and the attendance. Thank you, Almighty God, for those who stayed this long and listened to your word. May they be blessed and know that they should follow your instructions and laws, and you will help them keep them well. Thank you for all the blessings you give us. In Christ's name, amen. Thank you. Have a great day.